Hello, everybody, and welcome to. Now, I have to look at my notepad here. It is the seventh episode of White Line Fever Live. It's the seventh episode on iTunes of White Line Fever Kids, and the 27th episode of White Line Fever Kids on YouTube. But most importantly, we're on your computer screen or your mobile. And I'd like to welcome our guests from the Ottawa bid for the RFL inclusion, or should I say relocation. Eric Perez, how are you?
I'm great. I can barely hear you though. You're cutting out a lot.
Yeah, hopefully Nico will subside a little bit. The first thing, firstly, guys, during the course of this broadcast, it's 20% off all Canada gear at naturalgrounds.com. So if you go, I'll give you the code during the course of the interview. Eric,
you know what? I can't hear the thing. It's all cutting out.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, but it's every second it cuts out. So I get 1 second, then 1 second of cutout, then 1 second of sound.
Okay, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll slow right down, and I'll start by asking you about when you purchased or acquired the Hemel license. What's the story there?
Yeah. Okay. So I think you asked about the Hemel license.
Yep.
Yeah. So we purchased the license. We purchased the club. I don't like to say the license. We purchased the club, Hemel Stags. And so we now own Hemel Stags. And we've put in a bid to relocate Hemel Stags to Ottawa.
Right. And when you purchased the license, Eric, the club, were you confident? Did you have reason to believe that it was transportable? You could move it?
Yeah, we're pretty confident about it. It makes a lot of sense. I mean, you think about it this way: you're taking the weakest link club in the system, and you're moving it into what's arguably the strongest infrastructure, business-wise, stadium-wise, also of any club in the RFL. So we're taking the weakest link and turning it into one of the strongest links. So
right.
To me, it was always kind of a no-brainer.
Did you ask anyone at the time at the RFL or elsewhere whether you would be able to do this, whether it was contractually or permitted?
We definitely they knew when we purchased the club the reason why we purchased the club. Yeah, 100%. Right. Yeah.
And we've got a question here from Chris O'Connor, who used to be on the staff at the Wolfpack. He says, has any indication been given by two Eric Clark Super League clubs as to whether they would accept Ottawa into Super League should they get to that point? And that's a big issue at the moment.
Yeah, I don't see any reason why they wouldn't accept Ottawa into Super League if we ended up getting there. I think it'll be some years before we're knocking on the door of Super League, but when we are knocking on the door, I'm assuming that we'll get in on merit as a member club.
Right, and I noticed in the interview you did, Eric, with Total RL, you called yourselves the other chairman of other clubs' fellow members. Is it your understanding that, unlike Toulouse or Toronto or Catalans, you're entitled to go to council meetings? You guaranteed a place in the challenge bill, all the other privileges afforded to members?
Did you just ask me about membership privileges?
Yes.
Okay, so I think we are actually a member club of the RFL as Hemel Stags, and I believe we're entitled to our membership privileges, and depending on what the terms are of our move to Ottawa, that's still to be determined. But yeah, I mean, we are a member club, so we're entitled to vote and be part of all the activities that clubs are a part of.
Do you have any idea of what demands or expectations your fellow clubs will place on you, and I guess also New York?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, we'll have to pay to when we decided to do this, and because we knew that it was a better business case for us to move to Ottawa than to stay in Hemel. When we decided to do this, we knew off the bat that we would have to pay for all the clubs. It should cost nothing for the clubs to come over to Canada to play us. So we'll pay for all the transportation, accommodations, and food costs while the clubs are here.
Right. Okay. And to start in 2020, have you already been doing stuff in the background as far as coaches, recruitment, all that sort of stuff, or is it all just at the starting, waiting for approval?
Yeah, so we haven't done any player personnel recruitment at all, just because, anyways, you can't approach any players until June, as per RFL rules. So we aren't. To me, we aren't really behind in that area. No one can really approach until June. So we expect to have our approval long before that and be able to launch the club before that. We've been doing other things in the background, though, business-wise, especially over here in Ottawa, getting everything set up and making sure that we're able to have the infrastructure in place to hit the ground running once we do get our approval. But as far as player personnel-wise, we've made no inquiries and no moves. I can tell you, though, there will be no shortage of players that want to come over to Ottawa or to New York or to Toronto. It's an exciting opportunity, and what we offer over here is the ability to play in front of big crowds and supporters that are genuinely excited to see the game. So it's not hard to find players that want to come over here and live a little bit of a different lifestyle.
By the way, the code there, if you want to get your Canadian gear 20% off, is Ottawa 2020. That's the code. So you just put that in a checkout and get Wolverines gear at a discount, 8% of full price. It's maxcordbrowns.com. That's Browns with a Z. I know that Wolverines are very close to your heart there, Eric. And a key part, a pillar of your bid is junior development and helping a national team. Is that right?
No, I created the Canada Wolverines. Like I created the Toronto Wolfpack. So yeah, of course, it's like these are my children. Wolfpack is one of my children's. My child, Wolverines are, and now Ottawa will be as well. Yeah.
And what about a nickname for the team? I know there's a Twitter account out there at the moment in the name of Ottawa Rugby League. That's not you. So what's the team going to be called?
That is a fake news account. It's not definitely a hoax. I will say this though, I think it's kind of fun that someone would do that. I wish they wouldn't pretend that they're speaking for me, but it's fun to speculate. And this is the entertainment business, so I'm not about to stop fans from having a good time. But just everyone out there should know that is not our real Twitter account. Although they can definitely have fun and look at it. It just has no real information on it.
Is the team going to be called Stags?
Yeah, they've decided that the team is going to be called Stags. So that's an interesting thing. No, there's been no decision made on that.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And when you got involved in Hemel, had the decision for them to sit out a year already been taken? Had the decision for them to sit out a year already been taken?
Oh, yeah. So actually, that was my decision.
Right.
Yeah, I talked about it with Ralph Rimmer, and we decided there'd be no point in playing a lame duck season in Hemel. We were willing to play a season in Hemel. It's just better to hit the ground running with the move to Ottawa. So it didn't affect our application for relocation at all. So we just decided to not play the season.
The general public, Eric, probably only become aware of this in the last couple of weeks. How long has the RFL known about your plans?
Oh, over a year.
Over a year. And has it been Hamilton for that entire period? Oh, sorry, was it Hamilton first? And has it been? When did it become Ottawa?
It was Hamilton at the very beginning, but after some conversations with the Wolfpack and logistical issues at the stadium, we quickly pivoted to Ottawa. So it was never really Hamilton for very long. It was always Ottawa.
Eric, you're obviously presenting to get approval to relocate the license. Whose decision is it in the end whether you're allowed to transfer the license? Is it the RFL's decision or is it the club's decision?
Yeah, so the clubs will get their say on it, so the RFL can sort of take their temperature. But at the end of the day, it is an RFL board decision whether we're allowed to relocate or not. Right.
And you mentioned the Wolfpack early, saying that you created them. Well, I guess a lot of $64 question for a lot of rugby league fans who maybe don't hear from you that often is why you're not still involved with the Wolfpack. What happened?
What happened with the Wolfpack?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was always kind of the plan for me to seek out a next expansion team besides Toronto, because it's never going to be enough just to have Toronto. And we put that plan into action after the first season.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. And are you concerned at the other clubs in lower division? You know, the concerns that we heard about Toronto, the players are all part-time, the visa issue, you know, that we'll get flogged, there's no TV money coming in, all that sort of, you've been through that once. Do you expect the clubs to fight those hurdles again?
I just think it'll be different kinds of questions. I think they'll just want to know about what Ottawa can bring to the league specifically. I think Toronto's worked out a lot of the kinks in doing this. So the truth is, Toronto blew through League One like a hot knife through butter. In the year that I was the CEO, we actually demolished League One competitively. And it's become more competitive since moving to championship. I don't think we're going to do quite the same thing. I think we'll take more of a measured approach and build it up because we want to build a strong foundation. So it'll take some years before we're ready to knock on the door of Super League. So I guess if that was their only question about are we going to blow through League One again, that would be my answer. Besides that, I think the concept is completely proven. Everybody at Toronto has done an unbelievable job proving the concept, and rugby league needs this. It's either grow or die at this point. So
Yeah.
if we can't grow and open up new markets, we will continue to fall behind, and the sport will cease to exist in a professional level as we know it now, and that will be not in the too distant future. So this is a critical time for the sport, and it's a critical time to not shake our heads at people in North America willing to put money into the game, and the North American public clearly have a hunger for it. So let's get it on and popping, and then let's not lose this opportunity because it's a major.
Sorry, I was just going to say that, just following on from Chris's question earlier, do the bid have a definite position from Super League as to whether they have an issue with too many expansion teams coming into the competition? Because obviously next year it could be Toronto, it could be Catalan, it could be London as well. And we've heard people talk about the pie and price index. They don't bring away fans, all that whole argument. Super League has publicly at least been silent on this. As the head of a good team, do you have a definite position from Super League as to whether they would welcome you into Super League qualifying?
Yeah, I think they would welcome any club that brings value.
Okay.
So I think that when Toronto comes in, I'm assuming Toronto will get promoted. It's a big assumption, and that's why you play the games, because anything can happen. As we saw last year, no one would have picked London to advance in the £1 million game, but they did, and that's the magic of rugby league.
Yeah.
But let's just say Toronto gets promoted this year. The value that Toronto brings in is in the millions. It's so many more eyes, so much more media coverage, and eventually, if they want to go to some direct to consumer media platforms online, like most other sports leagues do, especially in North America, you'll see that they can bring in direct revenues on that as well. Sponsorships as well will bring in revenues. I think Super League will see from the Toronto piece that, and this is not a disrespect to the French clubs or to specifically to Catalan. The thing is, Toronto is a city of 6 million people. Perpignan is a town of 150,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
Ottawa is a city of 1.5 million people. You can fit Perpignan into Ottawa 10 times. So we're talking about major markets here. So these are the kind of markets that we need and that Super League needs to thrust things forward, because relying on the Sky Television deal, which was an unbelievable deal, to rely on that continuing after 2021, I think that's a little bit naive. It's not going to continue in the same way. The only thing is there are a lot of other players out there, especially in the digital space, that would jump on the opportunity to take over rugby league. So I think we need to create value in all the divisions. So right now we're not really we probably won't be a factor in this upcoming television deal for Super League. But probably we might be in Super League by the time the next deal comes around. And by then we'll have been able to show our value. So I'm not really too nervous about us being able to show our value. I think there will be some type of a threshold. Not 100% sure of how many foreign teams can be in the league without bringing value. So, it's up to other clubs too to start bringing in value. It's all about return on investment right now. If you're not going to be returning on investment, then why are you involved?
You know that as far as the Wolfpack are concerned, that they're not taking a share of the British TV money, but there's an understanding that they want a large share of the North American TV money when and if that happens. Where would Ottawa fit into that? Do you want a share of TV rights in the UK? Now, do you expect a bigger a proportion of any domestic TV rights? How would that all work?
Yeah, I mean that remains to be determined, but I assume that that everything will be equitable amongst the clubs.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when it has set a precedent now, Eric, that you can sit out a year and get the license. It's a big issue, isn't it? Obviously, a key thing for what you're doing. How do the negotiations go as far as getting an assurance that you could sit out a year, the license wouldn't lapse, and you'd have the opportunity to move it? How did that conversation go with the
NFL? I think your question is about how did the conversation go with the RFL about the licenses?
And sitting out a year, yeah.
Okay, I can barely hear you, but I'll try and answer what I think you're asking.
Yep.
So, yeah, the whole point of buying Hemel was to move it to Canada, and it's never really been done where a club has moved overseas. But there are many examples of clubs moving locations because they have a better business case there. For example, Crusaders, they moved from South Wales to North Wales because they had a better business case there. There are other examples in many other sports where, for example, the Winnipeg Jets, they moved to Arizona, became the Arizona Coyotes. Quebec Nordiques moved to Colorado, became the Colorado Avalanche. The New York Giants moved to San Francisco and became the San Francisco Giants in baseball. So what I'm trying to do is I'm applying that principle to rugby league and saying, okay, we've got a deadweight club like Hemel that their best value is that they produce a lot of great players. They've produced England players. They've produced, very high level Super League players. They're a nice kind of football factory down there that produces players. That's their value. So they're going to remain in the game doing that. And what we're doing is we're taking the professional piece and we're saying, now, where can we move this so that it brings the most value to the RFL? Well, we've already got our foot in the water with Toronto, and it's unfair to leave Toronto on its own in North America and expect tons of revenue to pour in from one club. You need to make the investment in it. So Ottawa is the next logical investment.
Okay, we've got a question here from Philip Kingsland. I know you talked precious, Eric, we won't keep you much longer, but he said one of the crucial values of the Wolfpack is the small stadium, craft beer, personal experience. Does Ottawa's 25K stadium depart from this?
It departs from it in the fact that the stadium is a lot better and a lot bigger. Besides that, though, it's a different kind of organization that we're running in Ottawa. It's there's a lot more sales infrastructure and we're more sales focused, and we're working with Ottawa Sports and Entertainment Group, who already have an established clientele base with their 3 clubs. So that's a major advantage. Although I will say they do run their operation very similar in the fact that they do have craft beers at the stadium, and it is a party atmosphere. within the stadium. It's just on a little bit of a larger scale.
Eric, is every license in the Rugby Football League transportable and capable of allowing to sit out a year? Is that your understanding that if Wigan wants to move, if Wigan wanted to skip a season, they could?
If they could make a business case that it would help the league for them to move, then they should be allowed to do what they want with their license. However, Wigan's probably a bad example because they're one of the more established, one of the bigger clubs as far as fan base, business, history, and whatnot. Like Hemel really doesn't have that. You know, Hemel's only been in the league since 2013. They barely have a fan base, to be honest. So, but if other clubs that have a dwindled fan base wanted to move to another location in the UK or overseas, they would have to put that business case forward. And if it was a good business move for them, then it's going to be good for the overall pie, and it should be approved.
Have you been given? You wouldn't have spent all this time without being fairly confident that this would be permitted by the RFL. The RFL told you that on the surface this is fine, that this can happen, or are you on tenterhooks as to whether this process will be successful?
I'm really confident that it'll happen.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And to finish up, Eric, can you paint a picture for us about April and where you go, who's in the room, what tools you use to illustrate your case? Can you paint a picture for us of you coming back here to the UK and exactly what you're going to do to put your case to the other clubs?
Yeah, so it'll be sometime in April, and we'll make a presentation. I'll have a little video presentation to show, and then I'll just talk to my fellow members about why it's a good move to go over it. I'll field questions, and then a debate will ensue.
Right. Okay. And then it goes back to the RFL for a decision, and you expect the decision when?
I hope sometime in April.
Right. Okay. And is there a reason why it was kept a bit hush-hush until last week? Was that by design or by accident?
No, just I'm not the kind of guy to blow things like to blow things out before they're ready. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, for example, people didn't even know about Toronto until the day that we launched Toronto.
Right.
People forget we are in the entertainment industry, and you need a little bit of razzle dazzle, a bit of entertainment, a bit of anticipation, and I like to do things in a certain way to promote that, but also until it's more concrete, there's no point in putting it out there.
Right.
So it's more concrete now. There's a clear pathway to the end. So it was time to let the world know what was happening.
In conclusion, can you picture the first day, the first game? Have you already got it in your head? What does it look like?
The first game?
Yeah.
Well, it'll probably be in the UK because we'll probably play the first 2 or 3 games in the UK. We can start playing in our stadium mid to late March. So I'm hoping that it would be fun if it was against London Scholars again, the way the Toronto one was, because that was a great day out. The stadium was packed. The Scholars guys did a great job hosting it, and they're a good tough test to start out with,
Yep. Okay. Finally, can you tell us anything about your consortium? Who's in this with you?
Yeah, it's all people that I've known for 20 plus years.
Right.
Yeah, no need to put that out until we get our approval, but it's all guys that I've known for 20 plus years that I'm quite close with.
Eric, I want to thank you for your time tonight. I think a lot of people are going to watch this on replay and listen to the podcast. I apologise for the echo. But I also think most of the people watching probably wish you luck. The vast majority of them. So thanks for your time.
Yeah, nice one, Steve. Take care.
Good on you, mate. Bye.
All right.